Madame Natalia looked at her husband and couldn't believe her eyes. Usually, Ilya was a calm person, but this man with a face red from anger, shouting at her, was far from the Ilya she married 6 months ago. For both Natalia and Ilya, this was their second marriage and, as Natalia thought, their last. "I'm already guilty towards my child, and you're making the situation worse," the man shouted. "And what exactly is my fault?" the woman wondered. "I just asked where you would get the money to buy an apartment for your daughter, that's all." Natalia worked as an economist and had a good salary, which couldn't be said about her husband. Ilya worked as a basketball coach at a sports school. Had few hours, and thus a corresponding salary. "My daughter doesn't have a cool laptop or a fancy phone like yours," Ilya said. "I'll repeat, what is my fault? Combine your resources with your ex-wife and buy what Irina wants." "Did you ask with what money I'm supposed to do this?" the man grumbled angrily. "You know very well that I found a side job for these purchases," the woman smirked. "Are you kidding? I already get tired at this job, and you suggest I find a second one?" "I'm not suggesting anything to you, I'm just saying what I did." "Of course, you are a good mother, and I am a bad father," Ilya sulked. "Don't twist my words, that's not what I meant. Sure, everything for your daughter. But what about mine? Ilya, you know perfectly well that Anastasia needed these purchases not for fun, but for her studies. She is participating in a major competition that requires high-performance equipment. Besides, Anastasia always needs to be in touch and have fast internet. Of course, your daughter is a prodigy, and mine is just average." Ilya pouted. "Are you accusing me of implying that Irina needs nothing but to lie in bed and play on her phone?" Natalia was surprised. "Anastasia has a clear goal she works hard for. By the way, you said you're guilty towards your daughter. I'd like to know what your guilt is." "What do you mean?" "The fact that I am now raising your daughter while mine is fatherless." "Ilya, are you out of your mind?" Natalia was outraged. "You and Anastasia barely exchange a few words all day, so what kind of upbringing are we talking about?" "Natalia, I've said everything. We need to buy Arisha an apartment." "Not we, but you. I owe nothing to your child. You know, my mother was right when she said you are materialistic." "And how exactly does that show?" Natalia was surprised. "If I'm not mistaken, you live in my apartment and on my money, because your salary goes to alimony and your whims." "Well, yes," Ilya mumbled. "So, my dear, the next time you decide to buy something serious for your daughter, urgently find a second job. Do you understand me?" "Yes. And one more thing. From today, you will give me half of your salary." "Why?" "Because utility bills and groceries have become more expensive, and if you don't like something, the door to my apartment is open. I'm not holding anyone. Understood?" "Understood." He regretted listening to his mother and starting this conversation. His living conditions had significantly worsened. Meanwhile, Natalia smiled victoriously. She accepted Ilya into her family because, despite his low salary, he had many advantages. First, he didn't drink like her first husband. Second, Ilya had golden hands. He fixed everything that broke, from sockets to household appliances. And third, Ilya was a calm man. As for today's scandal, Natalia knew where the wind was blowing from. It was her beloved mother-in-law who had disliked Natalia and her daughter from the start. But nothing, there would be a celebration on Natalia's street too, definitely would be, because the woman wouldn't leave it at that.